Hello and welcome back to the Avara Musafir show. In this episode, I talk to Rajat Ubaikar. Rajat Ubaikar is someone who has traveled all across India, like 10,000 kilometers of India, but just by trucks. He took lifts from the truck drivers and he traveled all over India. He has some really amazing stories. He has written a book about it. It's called Truck the India. So, if you're someone who loves to travel, if you're someone who wants to explore India, this episode is for you. So, do watch it till the end. So, hi Rajat. Um, yeah. So before we start this book, I'll just like to tell you that Truck Day India is one of the best travel books in India right now. It has all the socio-economic problems in it. There's like lots of stories. There's comedy. There's adventure. There's like it's a complete package which a travel like someone who is into adventures he or she requires. So congratulations on the book first of all. And what like so there's this thing where travelers don't usually speak about trucks, and trucks are the most common thing which one sees on the road. So there are just two books in which I found trucks. Like there's Lewison Woods, his book called Walking the Himalayas. So in that book, he talks about the trucks in Pakistan, and you have written a complete book on trucks in India. So I want to know like how did this idea struck you? Like why trucks, and what was the process like?
So, firstly, I was quite curious to explore India. I mean, in my early
Yeah,
20s, I wanted to do that as much as possible. And one reason why the idea of traveling with truckers struck me was a personal incident from college when we were stranded. A truck driver gave us a lift, and then he did not
yeah,
even charge money, which struck me as very unusual. And that sort of sowed the seed of this travelogue in my college years.
yeah.
And then once I was in my early 20s, I joined journalism, and soon I decided to go out on this trip just to see. I didn't know whether a book would ever come out of it or
Yeah, yeah.
whatever. But I wanted to see it for myself, and
Okay.
that's what prompted me to go on trucks. And another point is that in spite of like the crucial role they play in the conduct of our economy, they are quite marginalized
Yeah.
in terms
Mm.
of coverage, whether it be in the media or through books.
Yeah.
So but their lives do have a lot of value for others in terms of what they go through. It says a lot about the rule of law on our highways. So
Yeah.
I
True.
thought that experience was valuable and needed to be captured.
Okay. So, but then when this idea struck you that okay, let's go and travel in the trucks and explore what the life of a trucker is. So when you told this to your family, what was their reaction like? Because I'm sure because when someone tells their parents or like their family कि ठीक है आज मैं जा रहा हूँ and मैं truck से पूरा इंडिया घूमने वाला हूँ, तो there must be something different, right?
Yeah. So my mom and dad were quite flabbergasted initially,
Yeah.
no doubt, because it had not been done before.
Yeah.
Not
True.
and nobody had really had done it. So the question arises, right, that there must be a reason why nobody has done it. Maybe it's like too dangerous, or
True.
maybe there are
Yeah.
so many problems that anyone will face. So that initial hesitation was there. But once I convince them. I didn't have to convince them much also, because I've been out of my home for the large part of my childhood. Also, I was
Yeah.
in a military boarding school. Then
Okay.
for college also, I was out of home. So I was not exactly a very sheltered sort of child anyways. So they
Yeah.
trusted me to be able to find my way around India. Uh, and yeah, that's how they they gave me their full endorsement. Yeah, you should at least try this out,
Yeah.
irrespective of what comes out. So yeah, they were quite supportive, and I would say that that's rather unusual among Indian parents.
Because this is like every traveler's dream to like travel across India and that too in a truck. So there's this thing like I have traveled India, but I always imagined that someday I want to take that lift from a truck driver and I want to go from path like point A to point B. So this book is something which I was really looking forward to. And also there's one more thing like my dad told me this few days back. I showed him this book and he was like when I was 18, so मैं अपना business setup कर रहा था, he told me, and he said कि I used to travel a lot from the trucks, and I experience all the Naxal areas and the wildlife on the way. So it's actually a journey which someone looks forward to but doesn't want to take it up. So kudos to you that you did that. But but
Thank you.
but were you nervous or scared before the journey?
Definitely, there was quite a bit of nervousness. Scared, I wouldn't say. I mean, I think the exhilaration and the excitement kind of
Yeah, yeah,
overwhelmed the nervousness, if I were
yeah,
to strike a balance. But definitely, I mean, you don't know what you are in for, right? I mean, India's highways are quite that they're like the twilight zone.
yeah,
You don't know. I mean,
yeah,
what
yeah.
anything can happen there. If your luck runs
True.
out, then yeah, you are in anything can happen. So there was an element of nervousness undoubtedly. But
Yeah.
after the first 2 3 truckers, I developed a sense of I developed a sense in the sense what which trucker will be safe to go with. You
Okay.
develop that sort of instinct, right? So
Yeah.
slowly you uh, get in tune with the rhythm of the road, and
True. True.
that's what happens slowly.
Okay. So before we talk about like what happens in the book actually and all the technical part, I want to know. So you just said ki you developed that sense ki which trucker would be safe to go with. So like when you were starting from Bhiwandi, right? So from there, when you took your first stoppage and then you had to take a lift from another truck driver. So what was that conversation like? Because it's tough to
So
explain to them as well. Ki I
yeah,
am traveling through trucks, so they also want to know why.
yeah. So I had this sort of book with me on which there were some photos of truck drivers,
Okay.
just to uh, illustrate what I was trying to do, like literally illustrate. So I used to pass that book around. I'll show this is what something along these lines is what I'm planning to do. I want
Yeah.
to document your life, the problems that you have, and if you would be willing to take me along wherever you wish, I would be
Okay.
happy to come along. So that you slowly I developed this sort of pitch, sales
Yeah.
pitch you could say, to quickly convince truck drivers, whoever, because they are also in a hurry. The truck is also
Yeah.
very loud, so yeah, slowly I managed to convince, and during the later part of the journey, the time which it took me to convince someone reduced
Yeah.
quite a lot. Initially, there were some challenges, but
Okay.
essentially to tell them I'm here to write about your problems and yeah, document your life. So if you're interested, yeah, you
Yeah.
can take me up. And I should
And
show my press card and stuff. So
yeah,
that
yeah,
used
yeah.
to work.
And you have also written it in your book that they actually welcomed you into their lives. They wanted to show you like what their life is actually, right?
Definitely. I mean, they are also their job is also essentially quite lonely in many ways.
Yeah, yeah,
So they were happy for the company, and they were happy with the attention. I mean, usually
yeah.
nobody asks them where they are
True.
going on. If someone asks them, it's usually to extract a bribe or something. So I think they were happy with the attention and the fact that yeah, you had some company, and slowly they did accept me into their world. Many of
Hmm.
them were very enthusiastic, others some reluctantly so, but most of them eventually did
Yeah.
uh, include me in their world.
So there's this brothers. Their name is Jagdev and Zoravar. So that's something really interesting. I want to talk about that. But before that, I will just like to tell the audience: you have traveled from Mumbai to Kashmir, then Delhi to Northeast leg, and then after that Mumbai to Kanyakumari again, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So which part of this journey was like the most dangerous or sort of like the most challenging leg for you?
Challenging definitely would be the northeast leg from
Yeah, yeah,
Dimapur to Imphal, because
yeah,
the terrain was very unfamiliar, the language was unfamiliar. Plus, there were the insurgents on these highways who
yeah, yeah.
uh, exert some degree of control over the
True.
movement of trucks. So all of that made things much more challenging. I mean, other parts of India, you usually only have to worry about the police, but
Yeah,
here in the northeast you worried more about the insurgents.
yeah.
So all that had this air of uncertainty and somehow feeling of strangeness that
Okay.
often arises, because these are frontier regions of India, right? And what
Yeah,
we
yeah,
understand to be India, the mainstream. sort of heartland India is very
Yeah.
different from
It's completely
what
different. Yes,
Nagaland
agree.
areas.
Yeah.
So, and when you are in a car with, on with a proper plan and stuff, of course you feel relatively safer. But when you're on the highways at the mercy
Yeah.
of strangers, you have to definitely be a bit more
Yes.
careful. So overall, yeah, that bit was undoubtedly the most challenging.
Okay. And in the first chapter, there's this really funny thing. Like you have mentioned, one of the Khalasi, he tells you that once they picked up a woman on the streets and they thought that she's a prostitute, but then she takes out a gun and she tells them that she's a Naxal. So were there any other moments like this, like where you found it to be something so raw but so funny in its own sense?
There were definitely many, like some character, like it all depends on whom you meet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some characters are very colorful, who are bursting with stories to
Yeah.
tell you. Others are more taciturn. They will take their time opening up, and even when they do, they are a bit more reserved. But yeah, this particular character I met, Rajinder, was definitely a great start to the journey
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
he was everything that I was hoping I would find. So he was definitely a very interesting character. Other characters also were there who opened my eyes to a lot of things. Like in in Tamil Nadu, for instance, one guy opened my eyes to the fact that like Salem city produces like
Oh yeah.
90% of
Yeah.
India's sabudana,
Yeah.
and all these things, because trucking is so closely connected with the political economy of a place.
Mm.
It often has these sort of insights which usually you might skip your eye, but if you
Yeah.
explore that industry a bit more in various regional areas, so these regional variations come up, which are quite interesting.
Okay. So you talk about the characters. There are these two characters, the brothers, which I was talking about, Zoravar and Jagdev. So can you tell us about those two guys and the whole opium story which they told you?
Yeah. So I met these guys by chance on the out in Jaipur, on the outskirts of
Yeah.
Jaipur somewhere, and so these were two brothers who were working together, so driving the same truck, and one brother was sort of the more rational and more uh, balanced of chaps who
Yeah.
used to keep the accounts and keep things in order, and the other brother was a bit more wilder. So he unfortunately had this opium addiction. So how they use opium over there is in the form of bhukki, which is the
Okay.
poppy husk, and that's one of the cheapest forms of opium, but it's still quite addictive. So
Okay.
this guy unfortunately was addicted to it, and it opened my eyes to the extent of opium addiction, especially in Punjab and Rajasthan.
Yeah.
So that was quite interesting, and so I became quite good friends with them. They invited me to their home, and ultimately I did spend 2 3 days with them, hanging around their hometown.
Yeah.
They also introduced me to the whole affair of building trucks, how
Yeah.
trucks are
Yeah.
built
Yeah. Yeah.
using wooden materials.
Yeah.
So they were quite pivotal, I would say, and one of the most interesting people I met on my journey.
Okay. So, like when you explore these truckers' life, like they talk about opium, they talk about prostitution. So I'm sure they might have like told you also ki try karke dekho. So like how challenging was it to tell them ki I want to stay away from this, but still I want to cover your lives. So what was that like?
I tried not to say no many times, most of the times, especially if the substance in question was legal and
Yeah, yeah,
it had no sort of high risk elements. For example, bhukki is legal in parts of Rajasthan, so I
okay,
didn't have any moral qualms as such from trying it, because ultimately if you live their life in some way, in some whatever
yeah,
limited
yeah,
way, only then can you write better about them
true,
rather than as a neutral outside observer. So I tried my best to be part of their world as much as possible within
yeah,
limits. Uh, so yeah, I think that was the process. Usually, I I find it difficult to say no. So for them too, I did not
Yeah.
insist too much, unless of course it was
And
not
also,
recommended
like,
at all.
till the time you haven't tried the local things, like what's the point of traveling, right? So you need to experience that life
Yeah,
also, and
absolutely.
especially if like
Yeah,
if you're writing a whole book on it. So
absolutely. Yeah,
there's
that.
this. Yeah, yeah, continue, continue.
No, please go on.
Yeah, so I was saying that there's this one more thing about traveling. So when you travel, you get to meet a lot of new people, you get to experience a lot of new things, and there were instances where these truckers told you some stories which actually were like haunted stories and stuff like that. So how new was this to you, and what was the whole experience of talking to the truckers? Because traveling with them is one thing and talking to them is one thing. Like you get to learn so many new things because of that. So if you
Yeah,
had
yeah,
to tell us something about that, then what would be?
yeah. So, I mean, that was, I think, the biggest charm of this whole journey. The people I met, in the sense, usually you talk to people of your same socio-economic class, then
Yeah,
usually the conversations are quite restricted to certain topics. Yeah, what Netflix show are you watching, or like
yeah,
what
yeah.
are you? In this whole
True.
limited context, which is true to, which is shared by the both of you. But if you talk to someone who does not belong to your world, so to say, belongs to a different socio-economic class, the kind of life experiences they have, kind of issues that dominate their mind, all of this is very different. So
Yeah,
it can be quite an educative experience. So one of the saying goes that I have never met a man who has not taught me something. So there is
yeah, yeah,
literally no one in the world from whom you cannot learn something. So that was the attitude with which I tried to approach this whole subject. And because the kind of experiences they have on the road, right, whether it be tackling highway robbers, or how to beat the police at their own game,
yeah,
or even their own life experiences growing up, how what their life was like, what their family is like, just to understand a person in his entirety with all his flaws and
yeah,
his good qualities. That kind of conversation slowly emerges. I mean, it takes time. You cannot just jump into those conversations. But
yeah,
thankfully, the journeys were also long enough to allow me to pick their brains and
yeah, yeah.
get them to open up to me. So the interviewer's job is to be as uh, free of judgment as possible.
True.
Uh, Try to talk to them like you like. Do not be condescending. Try not to be judgmental. Be genuinely curious. I mean, every person is
Yeah.
a entire treasure house of stories. So that's what my attitude used to be like, and I hope I have managed to do justice to whoever I met.
Yeah. So before I ask you the question, I would just want to show the cover of this book. This is one of the most beautiful covers I have seen, and just like the cover, you talk about how a truck is made, how they decorate the outdoor and like all the structure of the truck. So you talk about two places. One is Sirhind, which is in North India, and one is Namakkal, which is in South India. So
Yeah,
how different it is, like what is the truckers approach in decorating their trucks in both these places?
yeah. So Sirhind is one of the oldest truck body building centers, one of the
Yeah,
largest also, and so their approach is slightly more flamboyant, more colorful. So they also get a lot of Kashmiri truckers who drive down all the way from Kashmir to get their trucks made here. So
yeah.
their tradition is more colorful, more sturdy, because these guys overload their trucks with a lot of apples in apple
Hmm.
season,
Yeah,
the Kashmiri truckers. So they need something sturdy. Plus, their artistic conventions are also such that they veer towards the more colorful. So that's the scene in Sirin. In Namakkal, in South India in general, especially in Namakkal, in those areas, trucking is relatively less sentimental. The drivers look at it as a way of earning money and not
yeah,
as this. So it's more of a livelihood rather than a lifestyle. In the north,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
almost like a lifestyle. Like you're out there on the road, and these sort of norms also appear in the subculture. In South
yeah.
India, it's relatively more business-like, the entire affair.
Okay. Okay. So I want to dive a little bit into the technical aspect of the whole journey as well. Like, what was the process of writing this book like? Because I have always imagined writing a book, but it's not as easy as it looks. So, and especially a travelogue, because there are so many things that there's so much of things going in your mind, and you're talking to a lot of people. So, how did you write this book? Like, what was the whole process like?
Hmm. So first, I tried to make sort of a loose book proposal. I mean,
Yeah,
that sort of clarifies these things in your head also.
yeah,
So I was approached by my publishers, Simon and Schuster. They read some of my articles online, and they felt that these articles could be expanded into a book. So
yeah,
they approached me, and then I sent them a book proposal. So in that, I tried to structure the book in terms of what the theme of each chapter would be. So I wanted to make these chapters revolve around something in
yeah,
however
yeah,
loose a way, but it should go revolve around something.
yeah,
It should not be like totally unstructured and off, like, because
yeah.
that way it's easier to write, but then that coherence is lost.
True,
So
true.
that was my intention. And then once I started writing, I tried to fit in some uh, legs of the journey with particular themes, like one journey for overloading, other for highway
Okay.
robbery.
Yeah,
These sort of I tried to work that out in terms of how I should structure the book corresponding with my own journey. So that part was a bit challenging because it was not an easy fit in terms of
yeah,
it's not necessary that every journey will fit in with some theme. So
yeah,
that was a bit challenging. It takes a lot of struggle and torture, honestly, to finally
yeah,
crack it. But yeah, the process was quite enjoyable. There were moments when everything is flowing, you're writing well, and
yeah.
that those are very happy moments. But yeah, the large part you are just staring at a
Yes.
blank paper, struggling.
So,
So yeah,
yeah. But were there any stories which you like completely scrapped it from the book?
yeah, definitely. Like some legs, like I said, so I wanted each chapter to have some connection with a theme, and at
Yeah,
the same time, the character also should be interesting. I mean, there were some
true.
legs in which my journey itself was interesting, like the place was good and everything, the route that I passed through. But
Yeah,
then the
yeah.
characters I met, they also need to be sort of compelling, as compelling as possible, right?
Okay.
So some legs I chopped off because the characters were not as compelling. Like I met like hundreds of truckers, right, in my journey,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
then I can only include say 13, 14 of them, depending on how many chapters there are.
yeah.
So that element is invariably comes in where you have to edit out stuff. So I also traveled in Goa. All these states I traveled to, but I did not
Okay.
write about it because it was not fitting in with the narrative. So definitely there's a lot of chopping
Okay.
that's involved.
Okay. So, were there any like any leg of the journey or like any one incident which is like your complete favorite from the book?
My favorite leg, I think, was in this part where through Punjab. Basically,
Yeah,
Punjab was the highlight of
yeah,
my journey. I mean, not in terms of natural beauty or anything, but just traveling with Jora and Jagdev, and then
yeah,
waking up early morning in that Haryanvi village where you were in pitch darkness the
yeah,
night before. So that those sort of moments really stay in your mind, where you get to see what the world is like in the daylight
yeah.
after driving through the dark all night. So yeah, there were some moments which definitely stay, but overall the entire trip is like kind of etched in my mind even now.
Yes, I'm sure because like 10,000 kilometers of traveling in trucks is phenomenal. So, um, if you had to say like for like three things which this journey taught you, so what would be those three things?
Most importantly, patience. I try to cultivate some patience in my own life
Yeah,
because the kind of lives these guys lead, I learned a lot. I mean, how not to let things rattle you. I mean,
yeah,
small
yeah,
inconveniences, like things don't always go according to plan, and you
yeah,
need to be patient. Definitely, that's one thing this journey taught me. Second thing would be like a deep sense of respect for informal India, the so-called informal India,
yeah,
which does the bulk of the hard labor in our country. So, I mean, but while they are often marginalized from our consciousness, often, I mean, but the sort of lives they lead and their contribution to the country, that sense
Yeah,
of
yeah,
respect I have uh, certainly imbibed after traveling with them. I mean, what I traveled for like 6 months on the road, and that left me totally shattered in terms of my
yeah,
physical well-being and stuff.
yeah.
But these guys do it all the time, so
Yeah, it's a
definitely
lifestyle
that
for
sense
them.
of,
Yeah,
yeah. So that respect for the informal working class, definitely I did develop. Third would be appreciation for India's immense diversity. I mean, you read about
yeah,
it all your lives, but when you go through those geographical shifts, I
yeah,
mean, from the desert to the fields to the
yeah, yeah, yeah.
mountains, and when you actually go through it, it's another matter. Plus, even the linguistic challenges. I mean, it's
True.
truly like every state is a. I mean, I could like do the same trip for every state separately,
Yeah,
and that would also be worth writing about, I suppose. So that
yeah.
sense of appreciation of India's true extent of diversities was another thing.
Okay. And also, there's this thing ki when you're traveling through India, there's like from Rajasthan to Kashmir, it's a complete change in the landscape. It's a complete change in the food and also the language. So, for someone who is traveling through trucks, how challenging was it for you, like physically? Because I'm sure it's not at all easy. Because I can imagine the pain which you went through.
Yeah, I mean, plus I went in the summer, so
Yeah, yeah,
it was
yeah.
like 40,
Yeah, so you covered the
45
North India in
degrees out.
summers. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, mostly summer. So that was, I mean, physically, but I was mentally prepared for that sort of thing when I
Okay.
set out. I mean,
Okay.
I knew the sun was going to be my friend for
Yeah.
the next 3 months, so you cannot escape it so easily. I was mentally prepared, but even then, I used to be exhausted when I used to finally get to sleep. Every day was exhausting, but it was a good
Yeah.
sort of exhaustion. So where you have seen new things, done something, and then
Yeah.
you pass out. So definitely a good sort of exhaustion.
And one very technical question as a traveler, what sort of packing went into for this trip?
I try to keep it as light as possible. I mean,
Okay.
like as few clothes as I can manage. So maximum one backpack or like two small bags, something like that. You
Okay.
need to be light. Like I had
Yeah.
taken along one yoga mat and stuff also initially, which I thought
Okay.
but then it turned out to be totally useless. I mean, in terms of
Yeah.
practical application, there was no scope as such to use that. So I abandoned it. But of course, some basic medicines also I took just to be safe. Not that I
Okay.
had to use it throughout on the trip. So just to be safe,
Yeah.
it's good to take some medicines along, some Odomos, all these things. And but otherwise, a torch maybe it
Yeah.
can be useful sometimes. All these things I did put in, but it was as sparse as possible. I did not want to uh,
Okay.
do some heavy traveling, so to say.
Okay. So I'm sure like whoever is watching this podcast when it is released, they'll have this doubt: where did you sleep and what did you eat? So because you have some really interesting thoughts about that as well. So can you just elaborate on that?
So sleeping mainly was in the truck itself. We used to somehow manage. Sometimes there used
Yeah.
to be a bunk bed, and one day I
Okay.
would sleep upstairs. So it was mainly sleeping in the trucks. On some certain occasions, I slept on the highway also, like by the
Okay.
side of the highway. There also we slept sometimes. Apart from that, yeah, mostly that's it. Otherwise, in the often in the day, I would see truck drivers sleeping under their trucks to
Yeah.
escape
Yeah.
the heat of the sun. So for them, of course, it was the standard thing. That's what
Okay.
all truck drivers do. When it's very hot, they'll sleep under the truck.
Okay.
Uh, but I didn't get the chance to do that. So, but
So
yeah,
maybe one
mostly
more
over
trip
there.
with the truck drivers for just that sleeping
Yeah,
under.
yeah. Who knows? Someday, one of these days.
Yeah. And so
And
how challenging it is considering the food, because like food from one place to another in India is like a complete change. It's a change in taste, it's a change in the spices and everything. So can you tell us about that?
food was the one thing that kind of kept me going through the trip. I
Okay.
mean, our sometimes when we used to make dhaba stops, we
Yeah.
used to be so relieved that finally able to rest, eat something, and food was invariably very tasty wherever I went.
Yeah,
In the sense that the truck drivers know which dhaba is good, which dhaba does not serve stale food, which
yeah.
dhaba is. So they have all these their own networks and connections. So wherever they took us, usually had great food, piping hot, uh,
Okay.
hygienically also pretty decent. So I never had any cause for complaint as such. But yeah, the diversity was a amazing thing. I mean, from dal bati churma in Rajasthan, and when you
Yeah,
go
yeah,
to the northeast, you have these Manipuri rice hotels where they serve
yeah.
you fish and chicken, mutton, everything. So in North India, I would say the dhaba food is largely vegetarian, largely. But yeah, once you go towards East India, fish
Yeah,
makes a
yeah. Fish is
appearance, and
prominent
other
over there. Yeah.
yeah, and Assam and elsewhere you will find a lot of chicken and fish and all these
Yeah.
things. So it was definitely, I mean, one of the highlights of the trip, right? Like wherever, whatever food we had to stop for.
Okay. And last few questions. What is this whole thing about the ustad and the khalasi? Like, there's this tradition. I guess you have said that it is only prominent in the subcontinent, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this tradition. So this essentially it's about so in most of our informal sector, people don't have these training institutes or any of this sort of thing where you'll get formally trained in a job. So most
Okay.
of the
Yeah.
training happens as apprentices to
Yeah.
an ustad. So the apprentice is called the khalasi, and the guy you learn it from, he's called ustad.
Okay.
And so this tradition is prevalent in other fields also, but
Okay.
in trucking it's especially important because they take the role of driver schools and all this. Like they are like one man driver schools. They will
Yeah.
teach you about not just about trucking but about life in general on
Yeah.
India's highways for 2 years or 3 years, and then finally, as a khalasi, your ustad says, "Okay, you're okay to drive now." Then you get
Okay.
your license, go for go for an exam. Often you pay a bribe and get the license,
Okay.
and then finally you also become an ustad, and that cycle goes on. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's how new truckers are brought into the business. So often
Okay.
these khalasis will be someone from the same village or from their same
Okay.
family, same caste,
Yeah.
and then he will enroll him in this business. So that's how this whole entire thing works.
Okay. And how old were you when you took this whole trip?
I was 24, yeah, 24.
24. So,
Yeah.
if there's someone who is like 23, 24, and he or she wants to take a similar journey across India, what would be your tips to them? What should they keep in mind, and how they should approach this whole trip?
Yeah, I mean, like be prepared firstly mentally in
Yeah,
terms of what sort of hardship you're ready to go through. This is it's going to be an exhausting, frustrating,
yeah,
often dangerous trip. So that those are things to be kept in mind. Not that it's actively dangerous, but there is a possibility of danger. So yeah, be mentally prepared for a lot of physical hardship, mental problem in the sense of frustration also. So that's
yeah,
one thing. Secondly, try and develop an instinct. In the sense, I discovered that often you can tell a lot about people from their eyes and their smile. So
yeah, yeah,
try slowly you will develop this sort of sense in terms of whom you can trust and go with your instinct. I mean, if your instinct goes against a particular person you meet, then try and trust that instinct.
yeah,
Try to hone it. Try to recognize that, and that comes with time, of course. But that's one thing to keep in mind. Secondly, be open to lots of nasty surprises or change in your plans.
yeah,
Like shun the idea of an itinerary and take every moment as it comes.
yeah. And one last question. So, what would be your message to the parents of these kids who want to take a similar journey or who want to write a book like Truck the India? So, because in India, what's the thing is with arts is parents don't allow their kids to venture into the field of arts. So, what would be your message to them?
See, with relation to Truck the India, I would say that parents often have this exaggerated fear of the unknown.
Yeah,
I mean, it's natural that
yeah,
my kids, if they go out, anything can happen to them. one thing I would like to reassure them in some ways is that India is by and large a safe country,
Yeah,
and most of the majority of the people you meet in India are decent people. And I mean, there's a tendency in the media to highlight the negative aspects, to bring out like, okay, there's a rape that's happened
yeah,
here, a
yeah,
murder that's happened here, because that's what makes news. But it's
yeah,
important to keep that negative bias in mind while forming your view of the larger world.
yeah,
So I would say that they should try and support their kids if they have any crazy plans like this. Uh,
yeah,
and apart from that, for the arts question, I would say, yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate that many kids get pushed into engineering and
yeah,
medicine or law or whatever. But ultimately, the kind of world we live in right now, the creative aspect has dominated the world like never before. There are
yeah,
so many job opportunities that are opened up for those who are creatively inclined, like never before. And
yeah,
they this is a good time to be part of that whole shift as far as the job profiles are concerned. And so the traditional approach towards arts needs to be shunned.
yeah,
And ultimately, what's important is that kids should lead a fulfilling life,
yeah, yeah.
and that should be the topmost priority.
Yeah. And what is next? Like, what is next thing for you? Can we expect one more book from you, or like probably a
Yeah.
show on trucks in India, like a web series or
Uh,
something?
I next book definitely I have my second book coming out with HarperCollins.
Okay.
So right now my travel plans have been disrupted by this COVID thing.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah, in the next couple of years or so, yeah, I think my next book too will come out.
yeah.
So hoping it will be good.
Yeah, I'm sure it will be good, and probably we'll do one more podcast for that book as well. So
Yeah,
thank you so much for giving us your time and talking about the book. I'm sure like whoever watched this podcast reads the book as well, because this is one book which I have gifted to my friends, and they have loved this book. Like they told me this is one of the best travel book from India. So thank you so much, sir, for coming on the podcast and telling us all the amazing stories. So yeah, thank you
thank you
so
so
much.
much. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much.